MindShifter Audio Blog, a place for your mind to grow.
The choice that defines you, why we judge instead of help, and what it costs us. I need to tell you something that might sting a little. Actually, it's going to sting a lot, but I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be addressed. You know that person you've been silently judging? The one whose life's choices make you shake your head in disapproval? The one you whisper about to your friends, rolling your eyes as you dissect their poor decisions? Yeah, that person. The one you've written off as hopeless, irresponsible, or just plain stupid. Here's the thing. Your judgment of them says absolutely nothing about who they are and everything about who you are. Let me paint you a picture of what cowardice looks like in everyday life. I bet you think cowards are people running away from burning buildings or avoiding confrontation. That may be true, but there's another type of coward we often don't think of. A coward is a person who sees their friends struggling with addiction and talks about how they just need to get their act together instead of asking how they can help. A coward watches their neighbor's marriage fall apart and gossips about whose fault it is, rather than offering some kind of support. The coward sits in their comfortable bubble of superiority, pointing fingers and making pronouncements about other people's lives, while never once asking themselves, what if that were me? What if I were in their shoes? What would I need right now? Because here's the truth about judgment. It's always easier than compassion. It requires no emotional investment, no vulnerability, no risk. It's the path of least resistance. And it's the choice of someone who's too afraid to get their hands dirty with the messy business of actually caring. We've become masters at crafting narratives that justify our inaction. We tell ourselves that people chose their circumstances, that they brought it on themselves, that they're beyond help. We convince ourselves that our judgment is actually smart, that our condemnation is somehow saving a greater good. But let me ask you something. When was the last time your judgment actually helped someone change their life? When did your disapproval lift someone out of their dark place? When did your condemnation give someone the strength to do better? I'll wait. Exactly. The truth is, we judge because it makes us feel better about ourselves. It creates distance between us and the person who's struggling. It helps us believe that what happened to them could never happen to us because we're different, we're better, we're smarter. But life has a funny way of humbling us, doesn't it? The things we judge others for have a way of showing up in our own lives, just dressed differently. Real courage isn't about being fearless. It's about being afraid and doing the right thing anyway. It's about seeing someone drowning and jumping in to help, even when you're not sure you are a strong enough swimmer. Courage is the person who sees their coworker struggling with depression and shows up with coffee and a listening ear instead of avoiding them because mental health makes them uncomfortable. Courage is the friend who drives across town at 2 a.m. to pick up someone who's made a terrible decision without bombarding them with all the reasons they shouldn't have made their decision. Courage is the parent who doesn't give up on their child even when everyone else has written them off. The courageous person understands that we're all just humans trying to figure it out, and sometimes we fall down. They understand that today's victim could be tomorrow's hero, and today's mess could be tomorrow's testimony. Here's something I want you to consider. The things that trigger your judgment the most are often the things you're most afraid of in yourself. The person whose financial struggles make you uncomfortable, maybe you're terrified of your own financial security. The person whose relationship fell apart, maybe you're afraid of your own relationship's fragility. We judge hardest where we feel most vulnerable. It's our way of trying to control what we can't control, of creating rules and boundaries that make us feel safe. But safety built on other people's failures isn't really safety at all. It's just an illusion. When you condemn someone for their choices, you're not protecting yourself from making the same choices. You're just revealing where your own fears live. I want to tell you about something beautiful that happens when you choose courage over cowardice. When you choose to help instead of judge, it creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond the person you're helping. When you show up for someone in their darkest moment, you're not just changing their life, you're changing yours. You're changing yours. You're becoming the kind person who builds bridges instead of walls, who creates connection instead of division. You're modeling for everyone around you what it looks like to be human in the best possible way. And here's the secret. The people who receive your compassion today become the people who extend compassion to others tomorrow. Your courage multiplies. Your kindness spreads. Your willingness to get messy with someone else's life creates a legacy of love that outlasts you. But here's something else, something more immediate and personal. We really do reap what we sow. When you plant a seed of kindness in someone else's life, you're not just helping them, you're planting a harvest for your own future. That harvest might come back to you as unexpected support during your own crisis, as a job opportunity for someone whose life you touched, or as the exact encouragement you need in your darkest day. When you sow compassion, it comes back to you in the form that's most meaningful to you, exactly when you need it most. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you feel that familiar surge of judgment rising up in your chest, I want you to pause and ask yourself these questions. What would courage look like in this moment? What would I want or need in that situation? Would courage look like scrolling past that person's cry for help on social media? Or would it look like sending them a private message? Would courage look like talking about how someone should have handled their situation? Or would it look like asking how you can help? Would courage look like protecting your own comfort? Or would it look like stepping into their discomfort with them, even if just for a moment? The answer will always be clear. The question is whether you'll have the courage to act on it. I used to think that people who made bad choices always deserved the consequences. I used to believe that judgment was a form of justice, that condemnation was somehow necessary for maintaining order in the world. But here's what I know now. The person who needs help today might be the person who saves your life tomorrow. And you might not know which is which unless you choose courage over cowardice every single time.
The MindShifter Audio Blog.